Tonight on Open Mic Night of the Living Dead, we're talking some of our favorite TV horror.
The creature's creeping right behind you. I hope you finally find a little slice of peace and light. 'Cause it comes crashing down tonight. Welcome to the open mic. When we call your name, you'll die. But there's no need to dread. This is the open mic night of the living dead.
All right.
Okay.
Something a little different today. This is the Encore episode for Friday. Nope. Friday the Destination, right?
Yep, Friday the Destination. That's right.
Final Destination we talked about last week. And it was directed by James Wong and written, the original story we had talked about was written by Jeffrey Riddick, but then his story was touched up and made into the final screenplay by James Wong, the director, and Glenn Morgan. And
yes,
we talked pretty extensively about how James Wong and Glenn Morgan worked a lot in television. Still do, both of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That got me thinking about TV in horror, or even horror in TV.
Either or.
Either or. You can see my brain's working good today.
So good.
So good. So the other thing is that we just finished watching It, Welcome to Derry.
Yes.
The first season. And I also recently rewatched the first season of Stranger Things with our youngest.
That was so cute.
And you also are rewatching it with our older child.
Yes, because our oldest child has watched all of the seasons and is insisting that we catch up with her. And so I started watching it, and then the little one decided she wanted to watch it as well. So now you guys are doing it.
In a little bit, I'd like to like to compare the first season of Stranger Things to It, Welcome to Derry. I thought that might be an interesting undertaking, a little brain exercise.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where you want to go with it. I know you've told me, but I haven't thought too much about it. So this is just going to be we're just going to kind of riff on this because I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
But first, I wanted to just talk a little bit about horror in television over the years. And it's funny because when I think horror, because we watch so many horror movies, I don't immediately think television, which is silly because there is so much horror in television and has been since the dawn of time.
Yep, that's exactly it.
And so when we're talking about like older TV horror shows, the Twilight Zone might come to mind.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
But also around that time was a show that I actually have seen a bit more than the Twilight Zone, which is Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Oh, I'm not sure I ever really watched that.
It's a pretty fun show, and anytime we're up visiting my parents, a lot of times that's playing late night because they still have cable television. They haven't cut the cords yet.
It's like going to the past.
And so I enjoy watching that when we're up there, and I probably should watch some more of it here. And actually, Alfred Hitchcock Presents is pretty relevant to our episode next week about Psycho, because I do believe sort of the filmmakers and everything for that, not the filmmakers, but everybody who worked on that TV show was kind of involved in the making of that movie. I could be wrong. We'll find out next week.
I believe that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to going. That's a nice little connection between this movie and the next.
But also there was Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really like the Christmas. There's a Christmas episode that they did in like the 70s on Tales from the Crypt.
Yes, I think that's a classic. I was definitely not allowed to watch horror television as a kid, so I would catch glimpses here and there. And that's where I think I saw some Tales from the Crypt. Definitely when nobody was home, because I was also left alone a lot as a kid in the 90s and would watch things I wasn't supposed to. But I don't remember any specific episodes or anything other than just kind of that tantalizing, forbidden television.
Well, and we did watch the Christmas episode I'm talking about. We watched both the 70s one, and then there was a 90s remake that was directed by Robert Zemeckis. And I wish I could remember the name of the episode. If you just looked up Tales from the Crypt horror Christmas episode, I'm sure it'll come up. But it's basically about another kind of killer Santa situation on Christmas Eve. Well, it's actually about a wife who kills her husband, is how it starts out, but I won't spoil anything more than that. It's a fun one, though. But when I think back to my childhood and what was sort of contemporary to that, I really got into Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon, which was on Saturday nights, the Midnight Club, and all of that. I'd like to show that to our daughter, but anytime I try to show her something from Nickelodeon from the 90s, she thinks it looks bad and then doesn't want to watch it.
Yeah, the quality of the video is kind of an obstacle for sure.
But also around that time was Goosebumps. I don't think I ever watched the show, but I read the books like they were going out of style with R.L. Stine, which, of course, nowadays they're doing the Fear Street movies and everything. And there's also the Masters of Horror series, which I've never watched, but they've got, again, I think anthology episodes directed by famous horror directors. It's on my list to tackle someday, but...
That's the problem with so many movies and so much TV. How do you watch it all?
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
But when we bump ahead a little bit to like the 2000s and 2010s, there's a handful of shows that I watched or that we've watched. I know that you were a big fan of Supernatural.
I did watch 8 or 9 seasons. I don't think I finished the show, but that was a background show for me for a long while.
There's got to be like 1 million episodes of that show.
There's so many episodes. I've tried going back, and it's hard to. If you watch it from the beginning, it's very easy to follow. But once you get a few seasons in, there's a lot of backstory and lore, and it's hard to kind of jump back in after taking a 5 or 6 year hiatus. But I did watch a lot of Supernatural and Vampire Diaries, which I guess is kind of horror. Wait. Go back before that. Buffy and Angel. I was a huge Buffy fan in the 90s. Buffy was the same age as me. Her sophomore year of high school was my sophomore year of high school. And I watched that show religiously and then went to college and had watch parties with people. So I think that was the first DVD box set I bought was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And definitely some of those effects were pretty gnarly at least for me, who was not allowed to watch a lot when I was much younger. So
well, and I was telling you the other day, too, that not only are they bringing back the TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it sounds like it's going to be just a continuation. So it's not even like necessarily a complete reboot. I'm sure there's going to be tons of new characters and everything, younger generation involved. But it does sound like it's a continuation of Buffy's story with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I can't say that.
That's kind of exciting, but also kind of makes me nervous just because it was such a capsule for me. And especially the first 3 seasons when she was still in high school. It stayed great after that, but those first 3 seasons hold a special place in my heart. So that kind of set me up for watching things like The Vampire Diaries or Vampire Diaries. I don't know if there's a V. And Supernatural, which I watched. I did watch a lot of those shows. And I've watched a few other kind of drama horror shows on my own without you that are kind of in that same vein.
What? No.
You didn't want to watch them with me.
That's fair. They probably were sappy.
Probably. Maybe just a little.
Even though I think I like more sappy stuff than you do.
Oh, you do. Definitely. I think, but you don't like procedurals, and some of those horror shows can be more procedural-like, or they're Monster of the Week, right? Which I think is also kind of like, I don't know, procedurals are kind of Monster of the Week. They're just criminal or crime of the week. And so some of the more supernatural horror shows, same things. That at least the ones I'm talking about here.
One that I did watch some of around that time was Charmed.
I never got into Charmed. That's funny. I tried to, but...
I never really got into it, but it was on at a certain time of day in the afternoon every day. Repeats of it, and I ended up watching some of them that way, just by circumstance, and I think it was a bit more procedural, and I think that's why I never like really delved into it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I love me a good procedural on in the background while I'm doing laundry or cooking or washing dishes.
But there are a bunch of big heavy hitters here. Let's not forget The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was obvious. And we watched at least one of the spinoff series for a little while. We kind of ended up dropping it.
And there's several spin-off series now.
I know. And that's another franchise where it's like, okay, what do I do? Go back to where I kind of vaguely remember what's going on? That's always the problem with these long, many season running shows. That's why it's so nice to start a new one.
I did find it kind of a bummer when they seemed to start using more like CG blood eventually maybe they always did, but it seemed more obvious later on, which kind of bummed me out a little bit. But otherwise, I enjoyed it. I think I watched the first 5 seasons maybe of The Walking Dead.
I think I watched maybe three or 4 maybe. I did read the graphic novels or the comics compendium.
You're a compendium.
I'm a compendium of something.
But another show that we watched several seasons of together, and it seems like a lifetime ago. It's funny when I think about our marriage. That's right. We didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, shit.
This is Rachel.
He's John.
And I'm John. And we're married.
Yeah.
And when I think about I was driving the other day, the car, with my hands and feet
Okay.
down the street.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it was on the
Place
street.
we like to meet. And I was thinking about how we've been married for 10 years and how it doesn't seem like that long. I guess maybe time flies when you're having fun or something like that. But some of these things seem like so long ago, like when we used to watch American Horror Story.
I was hoping we were going to talk about that. We did. We watched the first few seasons pretty intensely. I think we binged that at some point, but that was before we were being so systematic about things and doing things like that on purpose. But we watched, I don't remember the last season that we watched. They started to blend together. The hotel one, I remember pretty distinctly. And
I think we watched at least the first 4 or 5 seasons.
At least 5, I think. At least 5, and maybe we tried to watch the 6th. I don't remember.
I'd be interested in checking out another season of that sometime.
Oh, heck yeah.
For those who have not been initiated to American Horror Story, every season is a different story completely, though they have a lot of rotating cast members playing new roles from season to season. What's the word for that?
No, see, you said the word anthology, and that's not quite the word that I...
No, when you have the cast.
I know, and I knew it a minute ago.
It's like a theater... Well, company is what they would say.
Ensemble? No.
No.
I can't remember.
It's all right.
You blocked it. You do this all the time when
Leave
you
it in
give
the
me
comments.
the wrong word.
Leave it in the comments when we're talking about a theater company, but it's for a TV show. Another show that I really kind of enjoyed but never followed through with that is also relevant to our next movie was Bates Motel.
Oh, yeah. I never watched that.
You never watched that at all?
I watched one episode of that show when I was working at the state mental hospital as a mental health worker, and that show was on in the common room when I was on one of the units. Funny story. The only episode I ever watched was in a mental hospital.
Well, and that show starred Vera Farmiga as Norman's mother, Norma, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah, Norma Bates. And then Freddie Highmore played Norman Bates, a young Norman Bates, and who I also like to lovingly refer to as Charlie Bucket Bates.
Oh, yeah?
Because he was in Willy Wonka.
Oh, that's right.
With Johnny Depp.
That's right. I never put that together. I know him mostly now from the clips that show up in my feed of being a doctor. Right?
Right.
That's
young Dr. Boyman.
Dr. Boyman that shows up so often.
Doogie Howser 2.
Like all of those other procedurals that I don't have to watch anymore because I just get clips of them in my morning feed.
Another show that I checked out some episodes of, but it wasn't up to my speed at that time. I might be interested to check it out again, was Scream, the TV series, which was on
Right.
MTV.
Okay.
But at the age that I was at when it came out and the age that it was geared to didn't quite line up. And it might
Fair.
still not line up. It might not be suited toward me, but I don't know. It was interesting. Different mask.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't really know much about that show.
Another one that we watched, though, Stephen King related, was Castle Rock.
That's right. I don't remember enough of that one.
I found that one, I think I really enjoyed it.
I remember enjoying it. That's really it, though. I don't remember the plot, really.
I found it difficult to follow.
Okay, fair.
And I remember having to ask you a lot of questions.
I'm sure I understood the plot while we were watching it, but it was one of those that I could explain it to you really well then, but it kind of faded from my mind after. So I don't know what that's a sign of, except I would have to watch it again to give a really good opinion on it.
But you watched Z Nation? Is that
I did watch Z Nation. There's a couple. Yes, I watched some Z Nation, which was really funny. Definitely in the comedy, horror, the zomcom genre, which is one of my favorite subgenres, zombie comedy, with some really cool world building. And actually, I think that world is supposed to be the same world as that limited series we watched. Was it Black Winter?
Black Summer?
Black Summer.
Close.
I think Black Summer and Z Nation take place in the same world, if I'm not mistaken, but very different vibe. Like, because that Black Summer was awesome.
Yeah.
Was
I
really
remember
good.
Black Summer was a bit darker than Z Nation, right?
Yeah, Z Nation, I think if it wasn't a sci-fi show, it felt like a sci-fi show. And it definitely had a lot of humor in it, but also good effects. Black Summer and Z Nation, I feel like they're very similar. Another show I watched that's not actually a zombie show, there's two vampire shows that I've watched recently or in the last decade, which I guess is recently when you start getting older, is Van Helsing, which is based on a comic book series that I really liked. Van Helsing. I think there's like 5 or 6 seasons of that. That was on Netflix. Really enjoyed that a lot. Lots of cool fight scenes. Great special effects. It is a vampire, but functionally kind of the world it's like zombies. So very similar, feels kind of similar to Walking Dead, but with a nice long meta plot that kind of covers many, many seasons. And then the other one was The Strain, which was a Guillermo del Toro book that was then turned into, I think, a 3-season show. Similarly, vampires kind of come out into the open, and as opposed to the lone vampire being sought after, you instead have vampires that kind of take over very much like zombies. And yes, Black Summer was a darker prequel / spinoff to Z Nation.
Did you say Splash spinoff?
I was trying to say prequel and spinoff, and it turned into Splash. Yep, I did. I did it. So yes, Black Summer, same world, Z Nation, also The Strain and Van Helsing for some vampire shows that feel like zombies.
And there's a ton more shows. There's some that I think we would enjoy down the road. There's those Mike Flanagan shows.
I was going to mention those too, just because we've been looking at Mike Flanagan. I mean, always looking at Mike Flanagan. He's got some really great shows that we should probably really watch.
The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor. I think Midnight Mass is his as well.
Midnight Mass is his, yep.
Non-Mike Flanagan shows that I've heard about that sound like they could be pretty cool. Yellow Jackets.
Yes.
I've seen a lot about that, though it sounds like it goes down the 2nd or 3rd season from, the memes I've seen on the internet, but who knows?
Who knows?
I like to give them all a shot. I don't want to base anything just based on a meme. The Last of Us is horror adjacent, yeah?
Oh, totally. And my problem is not having played the games and wanting to do that before I watch the show, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, we might run out of time to watch the games. Play the games.
I could watch the games. I could just watch a playthrough on YouTube. That would be an option for me if I really wanted to be a purist about it.
Oh, I think the Fall of the House of Usher show was also Mike Flanagan, maybe.
I think you're right.
I think we know for sure that Crystal Lake has been talked about on and off. And I do think that it's still supposed to come out eventually, the Friday the 13th show.
I
so.
think I saw some confirmations about that recently on social media that it's going to happen for sure.
And then Alien Earth is out.
Also haven't watched that because we're not caught up in our Alien movies.
I know, they're on the wheel, our watching wheel, not
I know.
our...
Well, we're stuck on Predator because we got to catch
Predator
up on
too.
Predator. Then we can do Alien vs. Predator, and then we can keep going.
There's also a Creep show on
that's right.
Shudder. And, I mean, we'd be here all night if we just sat here and listed all the shows. The last one that I was going to mention that we both watched before we get into the little discussion of Stranger Things and It was Chucky.
I was waiting for you to talk about that because we loved that show. That show was really fun.
Really fun, great connection to the movie. I mean, I think there was a Nightmare on Elm Street show back in the day called Freddy's Nightmares. There was a Friday the 13th show. We're talking about late 80s,
Yeah,
early 90s.
I don't know anything about those.
They were like not connected at all to the movies. But one thing that I really love about the Chucky series overall, the Child's Play, from the first movie up through the TV show, is that they're all connected. I mean, there's certainly stronger entries than others. But there is, as convoluted as some of it might be, I really enjoy the fact that it had the same writer from start to finish and that they connected it all.
If you made me pick a franchise to sit down and do a marathon of all at once, I think Child's Play and Chucky might be my pick to watch all together, just because they are all so interesting and linked together and all so good. And closing it off with a TV show. I have one more TV show before we go on. Just wanted to throw out there, speaking of vampires and comedy, What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know how much you've watched of that. I've watched the movie, but I watched the first few seasons of the show maybe in the last year or two. Super funny and really good, but also very gory and very, very horror, right? But so that's another one that I would highly recommend if you, like me, enjoy your horror with a bit of well-balanced comedy. Quite good.
And also, we probably should mention Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. That's just real life.
Yeah.
Kind of these days.
It's not exactly horror, but some of the episodes are certainly very horror adjacent,
Oh,
psychological. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, real good stuff. Makes you think, asks questions, as horror does. So now let's talk about those two TV shows that we've watched recently.
Yep, and we're running low on time already.
Always.
But we'll touch on this for a few minutes here. What did you think about It, Welcome to Derry?
I liked it. I did not adore it. I think, like a lot of people did, it kind of became a bit of a phenomenon in the space, the online spaces in particular. Obviously, banger of a theme song, right? Yeah, you could just not get away from that for a while. I think because I am a most of my life Stephen King fan, have read It many times. Always that was really cool. Looking at all of the Easter eggs and stuff like that, I thought it was woven together really well. Pretty shocking, pretty horrific visually, definitely entertaining. It got me more as we got closer to the end and kind of pulled me in a little harder, and loved making the connections to the original. Made me want to watch the It movies again, which I haven't watched for a while, and looking forward to season 2. So yeah, solid, man.
Yeah, I thought it was solid too. I liked it. Again, I think I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I wouldn't say that I loved it.
Right.
There were some episodes that I loved, or close to it at least. I do think it got stronger as the series went on. And of course, there's special connections for me being from Bangor, Maine originally.
Yeah.
And Derry, for those of you who don't know, is Stephen King's fictional version of Bangor. So it's kind of fun to see a fictionalized version of my hometown back in the 60s with all of these horrors occurring. And So that's always an additional nice touch for me. I think I was a bit thrown off sometimes with the special effects. I found some of the CG effects a little too CGE.
That was part of it for me.
And I've seen online some other people have had that complaint or that note. And I think if anybody who's listened to a bunch of our episodes already know that, I don't mind CG if it's used
Tastefully,
sure. So maybe that's something they can address next season, but I definitely thought it was interesting. But why do you think, this is kind of a leading question, but why do you think Stranger Things season 1 is
better?
Markedly better than that?
Man, yes, that is a leading question. That is assuming that it is. And I think you're right. Stranger Things sits in me more solidly than Welcome to Derry. It feels deeper and more authentic. This is not to cast any shade on the acting that the people do in Welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry just seems shinier and more a product of the 2020s, I guess, than Stranger Things. Stranger Things captures a vibe.
And we're specifically talking season 1 here.
Yes, just season 1. I haven't seen the other seasons in far too long to comment on them. But that season 1 captures something that it just feels so real, even though it's fantastical.
I think one difference that's important to note is that Welcome to Derry is definitely more adult than Stranger Things. Like if they were movies, Welcome to Derry would be rated R and Stranger Things would probably be PG-13.
Yeah, 100%.
And so there's that like the gore and everything in Welcome to Derry is pretty awesome when it's not too CGE.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certainly more of that, at least when we're comparing the first seasons. I've not made it all the way through Stranger Things yet. I think I've got season 4 and 5 to look forward to still, so I know that stuff picks up as it goes along. But I think you're right. There is something that sits so nicely with Stranger Things season 1. I don't know if it was a lightning in the bottle, lightning in the bottle
yes.
sort of situation.
Here's the bottle.
Put your lightning in it. Easy peasy. It's like the opposite of the meaning of that phrase. But it literally, from like really the opening few, I can't remember if the first episode, does it open with them in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons or their copyright avoiding version of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it opens in the facility. I think that's the opening scene. But then our introduction to our characters is them in the basement playing D&D, which, I mean, and that's part of it too. I like D&D, in case you didn't know.
And I don't, and that doesn't matter. There's something so cozy. But I mean, and I think a big part of it is the nostalgia.
Yes,
is really nice. But I mean, our 14-year-old really likes it too, and obviously she wasn't there back when there was riding bikes all up in the streets and
we were younger than those kids. We were little kids in the 80s.
Yeah,
so we
like
would have
10 years behind them.
Yeah, so it's not even like we had that nostalgia. We had a little bit of it at the end of it. We were like Mike's little sister, basically, like that age, right? Like 3 and 4 at that time. So I think it just sits so right and feels so real and so fantastical at the same time. And I don't know why it feels more believable than Welcome to Derry, and therefore makes me feel more like I'm there and leaves a longer lasting impression.
Yeah, when I was watching Stranger Things season 1, which was over the last couple of weeks, I think I came to you multiple times and was like, the show's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking about, is this show good? Which I kind of was watching Welcome to Derry.
That makes sense. It
just delivers.
I felt like Welcome to Derry was more shallow. And so it, even though it wanted to be deeper, it wanted me to be scared and to be pulled in, but it was almost so over the top that it wasn't. And I think Stranger Things uses shadows and scariness a lot more. There's a lot more unknown. Like, you don't really see things.
The horror is very different.
The horror is really different. It's more of a creeping Lovecraftian kind of horror versus a bright in your face Stephen King, almost a Terrifier horror at times. Really?
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't know. Some of the things that that mother scene.
Mother.
Yeah, the scene with the mother giving birth, that was pretty awful. I guess it's not like a human doing it to another human, though. It's more like this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and again, to be fair to it, Welcome to Derry, it is much more straight horror. Stranger Things is like gateway horror. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in that sense, it's not a completely equal comparison. And I understand that this is more just kind of a fun exercise, trying to figure out. I think really I wanted to do this because I wanted to figure out why Stranger Things is so good.
I mean, I'm sure people have been trying to figure that out for years, and Netflix especially, so they can do it again. Good luck. Yeah, no, it's an interesting question, and it's hard to say. They both take place in historical times that were very well crafted. They both have incredible actors. They both, I don't know, really tough to say. Tough to say. Stranger Things is a bit of, I think, lightning in a bottle is a really great way to put it. It just really, really hit the spot at the time, and obviously they've milked it for 10 years. So,
Well, 5 seasons over 10 years.
well, I know, but still 10 years they've milked it, right? So,
And I don't know, maybe those later seasons are good. I've tried to avoid all spoilers post season 3 because I think that's as far as I made it. So,
that is, yes, you are correct.
but anyway,
Cool.
I think that covers what I wanted to cover for today.
Yeah, that was a fun little detour, fun little encore.
All right. Well, it's demo time. We did a
Woohoo!
terrible time introducing this episode.
We did a really bad job.
But listen, we can't be Stranger Things all the time. Sometimes we're just Welcome to Derry. Which is still great.
Which is still really awesome.
And I've watched all of it. I'm going to watch the next season.
Me
so
too.
That's why you should stick with us here.
Oh, can I tell you something I thought about while right as we're moving into the next part? So you know how Welcome to Derry might happen in the future or the past of Derry again. Like, this is kind of like this happened before the movies. What is the next time period after the movies? It's 27 years, right? And the movies happen in like the mid 80s.
Right.
So the next time period would be like 2010s.
The time period would be when the movies came out. When the adults from
Right.
the movies came out. So
Came
like
out
the late
like
teens.
2015, 2016.
2018.
Was it? I thought it was 16. I don't
Somewhere
know.
around there.
Anyway, okay. Then I was thinking about that the other day.
It'll be interesting. I think I saw something with Finn Wolfhard saying that he might have some sort of connection to it,
Oh, cool.
which obviously he was young,
Right.
which they alluded to at some point. But anyway, let's get into the demo.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the demo for Rachers.
Fucking 11 years. I swear to God. Can't even say my goddamn name.
This is my wife. This is her song. This is Rachel's song, Inevitable. I was so worried about saying inevitable that I messed up your name.
Inevitable, you live, you lose. Inevitable, you try to choose. Inevitable, the past comes through. And death always gets its due. Relentless obsession. Why won't you let that shit go? The past as possession. How do we know what
Okay.
All right.
That's it for this week. I think, do I need to fill a hole in the wheel? Let me figure that out, and you tell them where they can find us real quick on social media.
Right. You can find us on social media at OMNLD Pod, wherever you get your social media. That is Open Mic Night of the Living Dead, OMNLD Pod. And please come hang out with us on your favorite social media place. We're not super active there, but we are paying attention. So if you leave a comment or ask a question or have a suggestion, we will certainly respond. Or you can email us at omnldpod@gmail.com.
Yes, and I think now that we're, kind of at the last stages of recovering from the holiday times, which is really busy for us. I know it's really busy for everybody, but we have Rachel's birthday, our anniversary, both our kids' birthdays.
Plus Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, all between the very beginning of September to mid-January.
Yeah, it's just one after the other.
So more social media coming up. And as always, we'll keep the episodes going. But we do have a hole in the horror wheel.
Ooh, a hole in the horror wheel.
If you are just getting here now, the horror wheel we spin every week during our deep dive episodes, which this is not, to figure out what our next movie is going to be. And next week, we'll be tackling Psycho, like we said.
Yes.
A bit of a classic, one might say.
A bit.
But since we picked Psycho, there's now a hole on the wheel where Psycho once was. So I'm going to go to the feeder wheel, which I haven't counted, but there's probably at least 40 movies on here. And one of these movies is going to join the horror wheel, the Wheel of Horror.
You've never called it the horror wheel before. I feel like it's always been the Wheel of Horror.
It is the Wheel of Horror, and I just misspoke, okay?
Okay, I thought you were doing a thing. I thought it was a bit. Sorry.
Do you think I do bits? You think I do bits?
That's literally the only reason I married you, was for the bits.
That sounds like something else.
Wait, what?
And it's not very flattering.
What are you talking about?
Well, now you're doing a bit. Here we go. I'm going to spin the feeder wheel to find out what movie is going to join the rest. This does not mean we're going to watch this movie next. Oh, we lost Rachel.
No.
All right, here
I
we
bet
go.
I could make you lose John, too. Just don't look at each other. We'll be fine.
I'm not going to look at you.
Round and round it goes. Where it lands, nobody knows. Except you.
I think this is already on the wheel.
Oh, shut up. What is it?
30 Days of Night. That's on the wheel already.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, bad
I
wheel
just didn't-
hygiene.
Listen, I don't see you making wheels.
You wouldn't let me make the wheel.
For good reason.
To see? Blame me for not
We'd
doing
be
the
watching
work.
Vampire Diaries.
It would be great. Vampire Diaries is so good.
We probably have listeners. All right. Ooh,
What do we got?
Smile.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Shit. Okay, fine.
All right. So
All right. Eventually, we're going to have to watch Smile again.
maybe, theoretically, we may never spin it.
That's true, because there's, 13 slices on the Wheel of Horror?
13 plus the sequel
13
slice.
plus the sequel. So
I'm considering adding a second sequel slice.
that might make sense, or we're never going to get to see Halloween 3.
Fair. I not to get down another rabbit hole or another tangent, but I'm thinking of having Halloween wheel.
Uh-huh.
So if we spin the sequel
Uh-huh.
and we spin Halloween, I'm going to have a wheel for the timelines of Halloween to pick which timeline we're going to do.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
But that's neither here nor there.
Halloween 3 is not in any of the timelines.
Yes, it is. It's on. I count it as the main.
You count it as the main timeline?
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I see. So just like the chronological order. 1,
Yes.
2, 3. Okay.
Yeah, because we'll get into
Okay.
that another time.
Okay.
Here's the ranks that Smile just joined, and then we'll wrap it up. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Alien, Nightmare on Elm Street, 30 Days of Night, Sleepaway Camp, The Shining, Carrie, Smile, Intruder, Slumber Party Massacre, Candyman, Child's Play, The Strangers, and then, of course, the sequel Slice. So,
I would be happy to watch any of those movies.
next week we've got Psycho coming up from Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll be spinning the wheel of horror, and it'll be one of these movies for the next deep dive. So
I can't wait. This has been a delight, darling.
lovely, lovely.
All right.
Talk to you later.
See ya.